So I know we took like a brief 2 to 3 week hiatus. I wanted to give a huge shout out to Get Like Coop and Mike Korzemba. After pleading with them for days and days and days, they decided to take me back. And welcome to Laced Up. I'm your boy TheFlightMike here with
Get Like Coop.
I'm still not sure if we should bring you back, honestly. Get Like Mike was a great podcast name.
Come on! Oh, come on,
that actually sounds crazy. Like, no cap.
What are you guys doing? What? No,
that's like a Jordan pun.
Well, but like, Get Like Mike, we could do Get Like Mike, and I'm here. We could do Get Like Flight Mike,
Nah, you spell it funny. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Are you supposed to say? All right, fine, for sure. All right, well, I don't think we should discuss business on the podcast, guys, but...
you know what? We'll let the comments decide. If you guys want Mike to stay, comment down below.
Oh my God. Bro, wow, there's gonna be a war down there.
I'm kidding. You know there's gonna be comments going back at me like, shut up, Korzemba.
Yeah, but of course, we want the other mic out. Like, well, it's good to be back, guys. Missed you guys very much so. And I'm sure while Mike and I were taking our vacations and Coop was doing Get Like Coop stuff, I'm sure we all kept an eye out on probably the best NBA storyline of the offseason, and probably the strangest, by the way, like super freaking strange, the Ben Simmons situation. Have you guys been following up with that? Because it went from, I don't know if I want to be here, to, hey, I want you to trade me, to something like significantly uglier.
Yeah, I've been pretty tapped in with the Ben Simmons situation. And I mean, I'm kind of at the point to where, I just want him to move, because like as a Pelicans fan, when we had Anthony Davis, it reached the point to where like I no longer cared if we got the best package. I just wanted that guy gone. But I still wanted a nice package too.
I was going to say, it must have been really frustrating because like when the Pelicans got the number 1 overall pick, did you think, oh, there's no way that Anthony Davis leaves? Like, the Zion was hyped up to be like a transcendent player with a similar, I'd say a similar hype level. No one's ever had as much hype as LeBron James. I'd say a little bit underneath that. So the fact that you guys got the number 1 overall pick in the lottery, were you expecting that Anthony Davis would say, oh snap, like we got Zion, like maybe I should consider staying?
I thought there was a small chance he might stay, but at the same time, I'm not one of those guys that wants you to continue wasting your career after like 7 years. Like as a fan, I felt like we needed a reset too, because it's obvious we weren't doing a good enough job, even though we got Boogie and, we got some more pieces. But outside of that, it's like, it was obvious that we weren't going anywhere. So it's like, AD, like you're my guy. I love you playing for New Orleans, but we don't got to keep wasting your career. Like, as a fan, sometimes you want that reset too. You don't want to stay in mediocrity. You want some young, new talent.
Yeah.
I mean, well, the thing with you guys is with Anthony Davis, first of all, lucky you get Zion and Anthony Davis. It was kind of like you got, a second chance here. But with Anthony Davis, I'm with you. I mean, in terms of like, you don't want to be the, stuck in the middle in the NBA ever. You want to be going towards one side or the other, especially if you're considered a small market team where you kind of just have to build through the draft and build through, savvy free agent moves, because you're not the Lakers, you're not the Miami Heat where you can just, every so often pull off a bunch of great free agents and completely change your team around. So, I mean, I'm happy with you guys, trading ADOA, even though it did give Mike a championship.
I didn't want to do that though, but I didn't expect to go that far. But
that was the only problem. But yeah, I think it was definitely smart.
Are we still counting that ring though? Is like the bubble ring like a legit thing? Or is that like one of those Mickey Mouse rings that people talk about? I'm confused. I'm just saying what I see online. Now, comments, don't get mad at me. I just see people calling it a Mickey Mouse ring.
Every ring counts.
Every ring counts.
I would like to point, like they would, people were going Mickey Mouse ring at the time, and then, I mean, it's tough. Like, just based on NBA championships, everyone loves to play the injury game, the circumstance game, whatever. At the end of the day, one team advanced past everyone else and won the championship. All right.
To be honest, you could even make an argument that championship was harder to win, if anything. Like, yeah, the Lakers came and they did their thing and they steamrolled. But if you look in the Eastern Conference, like the Miami Heat were the best team out of that conference. And maybe given the circumstances, both of those teams were the most prepared to make it to the finals. Yeah, so guys, we are capping off the giveaway to the first 40,000 subscribers that turn on our notifications for the Laced Up podcast. All you have to do to enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X is subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to do us a favor, leave a like on the pod and let me know in the comment section down below when it's done. You'll enter for a chance to win a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X.
Also, guys, while you're here, this podcast, Laced Up, is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be awesome if you could go check us out there, follow us there, and leave us a review. Now, back to the pod.
I'd say maybe from a mental aspect, but I guess you got to factor that in. But like, even Giannis has gone on record and been like, like the bubble, our minds were elsewhere. We weren't solely focused on basketball. When you think about it, I know these guys make a lot of money and they're very lucky to be able to do what they do. But like you said, you could say it was harder. The bubble was a hard time for everybody, so you can't really discount that. But I mean, it's hard to. I don't know. It's just a weird environment for me.
Yeah, of course. It's a very weird environment. And the fact that the Lakers won, you can make an argument like Mickey Mouse ring because it was a weird NBA season. It got pushed over to like October. Everyone took a little break. People weren't able to come back prepared. But at the same time, hey, man, the teams that did come back prepared.
I'm going to be the bad guy of this podcast. Screw it. For me, I just got to be the bad guy. I mean, I'm going to get hate anyways. I mean, I might as well earn it. You know what I'm saying? So for me, we got NBA championships and then we got the bubble. So we got bubble championships. You know what I'm saying? Remember Jason Tatum? He said in the bubble, guys was hooping like they don't normally hoop. Completely different environment. I don't know if I count it with the same NBA champion. It's a championship all the same, but I'm just saying, we got the bubble and then we got NBA championships. So
that Nuggets Utah Jazz series had like super. I'm gonna choose my like words carefully, but like super high end like Drew League LA Fitness energy. Where, like super high end. Where you like Jamal Murray was going off for 50, Donovan Mitchell was going off himself. Like they're going back and forth. Like
yeah, unfortunately, like a lot of those bubble breakout guys, they didn't continue to take that drastic step that they had apparently taken in the NBA bubble.
I'd say Donovan Mitchell did, but
no. Mitchell was already a star. I'm not talking about him.
Murray got like an ACL injury, so.
But like TJ Warren, but before he was hurt, he wasn't having a crazy season at all.
TJ Warren's a good example of the against, but Devin Booker is a good example of the for. Devin Booker, bubble Dev, remember? Like he was
but Book was already still a monster though. Like I'm talking about guys that really took a leap. Like
you can't say Devin Booker didn't take a leap when.
No. You didn't let me finish. You cut me off before I said to start him. You cut me off before.
Well, TJ Warren still averaged like 20 a game before that.
He's not a star though. Yo, TJ Warren was still cooking this season.
I don't know what he averaged this season, but he averaged like 20. He's averaged around 20 a game before.
So all right.
This season he played 4 games.
Yeah.
So I don't think it counts.
Tough. Yeah, that's kind of tough.
Sorry, TJ, for not knowing enough about your career
But still, he wasn't doing what he was doing in the bubble, bro. 20 is not like 30, 40 a game.
All right, and I'm just stating that with what you're saying, all right, Devin Booker, the Suns hadn't done anything in his entire time with the team, despite him playing well. And then he went and led them on an undefeated streak. And then they continued that momentum up and went to the NBA championship.
That Book was already that guy. The team played better. Yeah, I'm talking about individual performances.
You can't say he was that guy if he's never made the playoffs.
Yes, you can.
How? You can't call anyone that guy.
You definitely can call them that guy. So Book wasn't that guy just because he didn't make the playoffs. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely, never made the playoffs.
That's crazy. Ever? That's the playoffs are a team accomplishment. It's not on Book to drag them to every play. The Suns were bad.
You know, Devin Booker's still never been just straight up chosen for an All-Star game. He's been an injury replacement.
That's dirty. I don't agree with that. The media needs to get that together. The NBA needs to get that together.
I'm sticking by my statement of that. Devin Booker rode momentum from the bubble to here. Sure, he was still good, but again, TJ Warren was averaging like 20 a game the season before.
But bubble TJ Warren.
I understand TJ Warren was, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He had a hot streak. Jeremy Lin had a hot streak.
I think that's a little bit different, though. Jeremy Lin's hot streak was like a combination of the Mike D'Antoni off.
Because NBA players say that the bubble was a completely different playing field, a completely different environment.
I'm with you.
You're not just arguing with me. You're arguing with Jason Tatum. You're arguing with more players that played the game. So I'm just saying what they saying, man. That's all I'm saying.
TJ Warren ended the bubble, in the playoffs, averaging exactly 20 a game and shot 47% in the playoffs.
You know what's
he had a hot streak. Yes, he had a hot streak.
He had Danny Ainge convinced too, because Danny Ainge didn't trade Gordon Hayward to the Pacers because they didn't want to include TJ Warren in a package with Miles Turner.
TJ Warren still only averaged, with a 53-point game, he averaged 31 points a game in the bubble.
Hey, he ain't dropped 50 cents though.
Yeah, you know what?
Hey, so don't talk to me. He ain't dropped 50 cents.
Coop did not look at the stats, and he's going, "Oh wow, they're not as good as I
thought." No, I am looking
were.
at the stats. No, he did.
You're
saying this is a 20. You're saying 12, 39, 16, 32, 34, and 53 average to that averages to 20. How does that average to 20?
You could if you 20.
Oh, you're talking about 14. The playoffs. You're talking about the playoffs.
Yeah, I said the playoffs.
Now you're like nitpicking. You're like, well, he still only averaged.
That's the one.
No,
that's
because no, but look. You said he only averaged 20. You said he only averaged 20.
I said in the playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs. And then you said with his 53 point game, he only averaged 20. That's not true. That's completely
No, that's not
different.
what I said. I said he only averaged 31.
Only averaged 31. That's a ton.
Hold on. How much did he actually average? He averaged. Well, whatever. He averaged over 30. I said with a 53-point game.
That's still a lot. 31's a lot. You can't say only averaged 31.
It's a 6-game sample size.
I hate when people do that in fantasy football, too. They're like, oh, if you take away his longest run, he only averaged 3.3 yards per carry.
Have you heard of mean, median, and mode? You take away the top of a sample size to get the actual...
No, Korzemba, this is my first time. Thank you. Can you explain it to me? This is my first time hearing about mean, median,
you
and
have
mode.
a 6-game sample size.
Guys, we are selling lectures now on Laced Up.
You're trying to lecture me, and I'm standing strong
You're
here.
the one that just said, do you know about mean, median, and mode?
Well, I'm just saying, if you take out that 153-point game, if you take out that 153-point game...
If you take out Isaiah Thomas's 130-point game, he never averaged 30.
What?
I mean, I said 30-point game. I meant season. If you take out his 130-point per game season.
Signal, that's a whole season. I'm talking about 6 games. 10 total with the freaking playoffs.
Just saying, man.
I'm just saying.
The bubble was different. Players will tell.
The funny thing is, I agree with this statement in general. It's just, once I pulled up TJ Warren's stats, it was fun to argue.
And you found a 53-point game. Yeah.
Well, you all knew that. We know he dropped 53.
I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. dropped a 50-point game this past year. How are you putting stock into that? That wasn't in the bubble either.
Nobody's ever questioned Kevin Porter Jr.'s talent. I mean,
what about Lou Dort?
He's got some things going on. This was a weird NBA season. I'll say that.
All right, are we talking about Ben Simmons? What?
Yeah.
This. remember when we said let's start?
No. You know what? I want to hear what TheFlightMike has to say. What about Lou Dort?
I mean, like, what? He had a 42-point game against the Utah Jazz. He had 4 steals in that game as well. So, like,
I mean, he's on a bad team. Like, somebody's got to score.
I mean, maybe the reason why TJ Warren went off for 50 points was because wasn't Victor Oladipo out during that time? They needed someone to step up. Could be circumstantial. It couldn't necessarily be a bubble thing.
But then if it was a bubble thing, why did he only average 20 in the playoffs? I'm just saying.
Well, the Heat are a really good defensive team. He probably had Jimmy Butler on him. Like, what? Oh, Jimmy Butler's not good at defense now? The Heat were not a good defense team?
Well, you said he was different. You said he was different, but he averaged 20 a game in the playoffs.
So this Ben Simmons guy, guys. Well, no, just to close things off, guys. Please let us know in the comment section down below. Like, do you think the bubble affected people scoring?
I'm standing by it. I agree it did. No, I'm standing by that. I agree it did.
Yeah, me and Korzemba just having fun. But before we go any further on this topic, TheFlightMike literally had a video where he called, I think he said Tyler Hero is having a better something than Stephen Curry. That's what the bubble was doing to guys. You forgot about this take? You forgot about this? I never forgot about this.
Oh my God.
I'll find the video. We can pause.
All right, find the video.
Old takes
No.
exposed.
Find the video. You can't just be coming out here and saying, I had like a 50-inch vertical video of my own. Like, come on. Hold on.
Maybe you changed the title.
Yeah.
I'd love to point out that at the time of my Steph Curry video, all of the comments were, "Wow, I can't believe how right you are." So you know what? I should have screenshotted them all.
I have a video saying Tyler Hero wasn't supposed to be this good this fast.
You changed the title. You changed the title.
Whoa.
I know you changed the title. If that.
Whoa. I did no such thing. I did no such thing.
Yeah, you never changed the title.
You don't see me crashing into like fences when I see Tyler Hero. He had a good look, there was hype around Tyler Hero because he wasn't supposed to be this good this fast. It was a 19-year-old doing stuff that you don't expect a 19-year-old to do. Obviously, he took a little bit of a step back this year, but it was very impressive at the time. Very impressive. Jack Harlow made a song about him. Dude was all the rage last year.
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, Jack Harlow.
So anyway, back to our main discussion. What do you guys think about Jack Harlow?
He was great in Industry Baby. No, I'm kidding. Let's get to...
His skill. I'm talking about his skills on the court.
Oh, here we go. No.
What?
Go to the go look in the chat. Go look in the chat.
Oh my God.
Go look in the chat. Go look in the chat. We don't forget. We get like Coop Enterprises. Don't forget.
Coop is coming with so much energy.
Tyler Hero did something that Steph Curry never could do. Yeah, what's your point?
We should do a live stream where we all just one by one react to a compilation of our worst takes.
Oh my gosh.
I would love that.
Yeah, we probably should.
Like, literally, it's just going and just, oh man, that would be crazy.
I think he had a game where, like, he actually did something that Steph Curry never did in an NBA Finals. So I was being very particular with that title.
Do that is like, yo.
No. I meant never did in the past.
Then you should have said never did instead of never could do. You said never could do though.
Honestly, that title works like in terms of like it's pretty simple to get around that. You go Tyler Hero dropped, I'm just making this up, 34 points on April 7th as a 20-year-old. Steph didn't. So Steph never could. Yeah, Steph could never drop 34 points as a 20-year-old because he never did.
But people like took it the wrong way, man. People take it so literally.
You know
like,
what you did.
Nah, bro, nah, like, nah.
Wait, hold on a second. You just
admitted what?
To me going, yeah, Tyler Hero dropped 34 points on a random game in April as a 20-year-old.
I forgot what it was.
Steph never did it, and you're like, yeah, that was the idea.
I don't want to watch the video in the middle of the podcast, but like he did something in particular that Steph Curry never did in the finals, and that's what I based the title off of. That's it.
The disrespect, man.
And why is Jason Tatum crying?
Because why is Jason Tatum crying? Was this in the finals? Maybe it was in the Eastern.
What? Jason Tatum wasn't in the finals?
No. Maybe this was before the finals.
Yeah, it was probably Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, it was like Eastern Conference Finals probably. Of course, Jason Tatum's crying if like Tyler Hero kicked his ass in the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh. I know what it was. You guys are going to destroy me if I fucking told you what it was, though. Oh, my God.
No, you got to say it now.
We're here now.
First of all, you just threw a random shot at me. You were like, oh, a 50-inch vertical, blah, blah, blah. I heard you.
Whoa. You throw random shots at me all the time. Look.
I'm just trying to get you drunk.
All right. I'm going to say it, and then I might have to run away for what your guys' reaction is, because I remember why I said he did something that Steph Curry never could do. So,
go ahead.
All right, so this was a game where he dropped 37 points off of 5 of 10 shooting from 3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. He did something that Steph Curry will never do in his entire career, and that's dropping 37 points in the Eastern Conference Finals. Bye!
Wait for Steph to come to the Knicks.
Bro, if he comes to the Knicks, like, all right, I thought that was going to be way worse.
How did, but like...
It was the Eastern Conference Finals. Steph's never going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You can take that to.
Oh my god.
You can take that to the bank. You can take that to the bank.
We could do that about anyone. Oh my god.
I know, but that's what I did.
I'm about to
That's
just
what I
start
did.
making video with Luka and LeBron. Just LeBron James will never do this.
I mean, LeBron made it to the Western Conference Finals too, and the Eastern Conference Finals. So guys, before we get into the Ben Simmons stuff again, which we're supposed to, but I guess we just had a lot to talk about before that, like with the Pelicans and whatnot. I wanted to let you guys know we're going to be doing bonus pods and a live stream for our Laced Up Gold and Laced Up Silver members. All you have to do to enter is just go to the channel memberships. It's really, really cheap to join. And as a result, you could join our Discord as well and ask us questions from there. We want to start featuring your questions on the pods, and also follow us on our Laced Up Twitter. I'm going to be running personally multiple NBA 2K22 giveaways on that Twitter account, and that's going to be another means for you guys to ask us questions for free. But we're obviously going to prioritize those that join as members, either Laced Up Silver or Laced Up Gold. So guys, this Ben Simmons stuff, this is something that like I was constantly looking at over the offseason. Started out really freaking innocent. You know, Ben Simmons had a really bad game. We've seen it a billion times against, we've seen his inadequacies a billion times in different forms over the 5 years that he was in the NBA. This was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. He had a horrible showing against the Atlanta Hawks. As a result, his head coach pretty much threw him under the bus, and it kind of snowballed. Next thing you know, we're getting reports that Ben Simmons is ghosting the Philadelphia 76ers. And then from there, multiple sources are also are confirming that. It went from sketchy source to more legitimate source to The Athletic reporting upon it. And from there, it gets a little crazy because you're hearing Ben wants to play for 3 different California teams, which means either the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, or the Warriors. You're hearing the Warriors having discussions about it, but not being really sure because of his fit next to Draymond Green. Now it's gotten to this insane point where Ben Simmons is not showing up to training camp. He could lose a ton of money in an NFL-style holdout during training camp. Rich Paul's getting involved. It's a mess, man, because how do you navigate the situation if you're one, Ben Simmons, you're on a team you don't want to be, 2, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, this is a former number 1 overall pick whose value is at an all-time low, and 3, what do you think is going to happen from here, guys?
Well, I just want to point this out very quickly. And you know what, Coop? I don't know what's going on, but we've got Yahoo yesterday. We've got NBA rumors. Ben Simmons has drawn trade offer from dark horse team. And in this story, this man goes through the teams that, have already offered Ben, or have already been in the news. For instance, Timberwolves, Warriors, Blazers, even the Pacers with Malcolm Brogdon very early on. And he says 2 teams come in mind for this category of a dark horse team that has not made an offer. Number 1 is the Detroit Pistons, and number 2 is the New Orleans Pelicans. Ben Simmons and Zion doesn't sound great. Honestly, I don't love it. Coop, what do you think? I mean, what do you?
If we were at that point of desperation, I could think of worse. I like Ben. I think he's going to surprise a few people this upcoming season. But Ben and Zion, that's not the most ideal lineup. I mean, he was just playing with Steven Adams, so there's that, and the offense worked at times, and at times it didn't. It's just a giant mess. I actually like the direction of our team right now. I like Devontae Graham from Charlotte. I thought he was mad overrated. Charlotte kept bringing in guards, and Graham kind of became an afterthought, a high-level player. I like the addition of Trey Murphy, 6'9", a guy that can shoot the lights out of the basketball, 3-and-D guy. If you could defend in this league at 6'9" and knock down an open 3, you're a $100 million guy. Jonas Valanciunas, somebody that can stretch the floor and upgrade over Steven Adams, Then you got Nikhil. I don't want to give up any more assets right now because I like what we have. And I really want to just take a season to see the young guys ball out, to see what this team really looks like without, all of that pressure of going win now on it. Because if you trade for Ben Simmons, I mean, there's already enough speculation going on in New Orleans. If you trade for Ben, one thing that's definitely going to happen is all eyes are going to be on you. And I even feel that way, even being in New Orleans.
Honestly, I have a huge issue with the Pelicans trading for Ben Simmons, and that's the fact that I think they struck gold this past year with going 5 out with Zion Williamson as the primary ball handler. I think that's a huge reason why they didn't want to bring Lonzo Ball back, because they used Lonzo Ball as a spot-up shooter, and he was a great spot-up shooter, but I think you're getting maybe 40 or 50% of what Lonzo Ball actually is.
We didn't necessarily struggle. I think our offense was actually top 5 with point Zion, even with Steven Adams. Zion's got his own gravity where somehow it doesn't matter what the spacing is like. He's going to get his. It's not like the new 2K where you can't get something up in the paint with Zion. He's always finding a way to make something shake.
In this instance, too, how do you use Ben Simmons? I mean, Ben Simmons is typically the primary ball handler. So how does that exactly work? You bring Ben Simmons and then maybe run a similar system as to what they did in Houston with CP3 and James Harden? I
don't like it. I don't like it, but
I don't like the fit at all.
Yeah,
I feel like everything with the Pelicans that would be wrong with. Okay, so with the Golden State Warriors at this point in time, the main thing is that Ben Simmons and Draymond, how would that work out? How would that possibly work?
I like that better. I like that a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying that is you take that team, you surround them with shooters. I'm assuming, Wiseman's gone in that situation because you have to give up, pieces for Ben. But so, yeah, there's that. The Pelicans with combining Zion and Ben, it doesn't feel like that fits. It feels like you would be starting Ben at small forward? Because you can't start Zion at center.
One thing that gets swept under the rug is I wouldn't necessarily feel bad for Zion. I would feel more for the Pelicans guards and Brandon Ingram, who make a living out of creating from the perimeter, but also getting to the basket. Brandon Ingram had to deal with Steven Adams and Zion kind of clogging the paint last year. Even though Zion still does have a gravity to where people play him respectively kind of close, because you can't give him a head start going to the basket. But obviously, not an ideal situation for BI or our guards.
Do you see Zion playing more minutes at the center position?
I don't know if I like that. Yeah, he's 6'7", 6'6". Point center is a thing in 2021, but I like my centers to be rim protectors. Maybe I'm a little more traditional, or I like my centers to be guys that are 3-and-D players who can play a little bigger. So a DeAndre Hunter or Nicholas Batum, what the Los Angeles Clippers did. That's one reason I was so high on them, is because of Batum and Kawhi's and Paul George's versatility. So I just don't know how I would feel with Zion at center. Now, obviously, for the Denver Nuggets, Jokic has worked amazingly at center, and he's not a great rim protector at all, but he kind of has become more willing to defend and protect the rim even a little bit. So I just don't know how I feel about that. What do you guys think?
I don't think in today's NBA you're seeing more and more that the rim protector isn't necessarily a sought-after commodity, a high-end sought-after commodity. It's typically a role player. For example, you look at players like DeAndre Jordan. Is Andre Drummond a rim protector? I'm really unsure. DeAndre Jordan,
no.
Dwight Howard's a little bit old. Yeah, I was about to say.
The thing is, elite rim protectors change trajectories of teams. Look at Rudy Gobert. Look at Clint Capella. But there's only a handful of those guys.
Maybe the next up-and-coming one's Jarrett Allen, but...
Oh, he's nice, yeah.
But, that's a traditional rim
now,
protector.
So
yeah, who drafted Evan Mobley as well. I don't get it. But it really depends on if this is a rim protector that could actually, isn't traditional, kind of like Miles Turner, where he could step out and shoot the three, or James Wiseman, who also who could develop into that elite rim protector. I don't think he's elite yet. Then I do think it's fantastic for a team to have one of those. But in the case of a DeAndre Jordan or a Dwight Howard, or in this case, we're talking about Zion Williamson, which I don't really see as a rim protector. I don't think it's 100% necessary. Mainly because you're seeing more and more that these centers need to at least have some semblance of an adequate perimeter defensive game, like an ability to. That's what makes Anthony Davis so special, right? Because he's a remarkable rim protector, but he has no problem closing out if the man he's defending is.
Did you watch
shooting from the perimeter?
And the Hawks, I would say, Clint Capella has no perimeter game. They're still did very well with him.
Man, CP3 was frying Lopez every screen, but they lost. So
I think I don't want to discredit the Bucks, but this NBA season was a little bit unique in the sense that we saw a lot of injuries as well. So
this is why I didn't want to discredit the bubble, because you could say, okay, technically, yes, is this NBA season is the worst with injuries? Sure. If you go back in time, though, if you give LeBron, Kevin Love in the NBA Finals against the Warriors back in the day, a few years ago, basically, if the Golden State Warriors are healthy against the Toronto Raptors, it happens every single year. So was this year more extreme with injuries? Sure. But I just feel like, when it comes to that, there's just literally nothing you could do other than just count the championship. So I just hate that discussion, because it's like, why does it pop up every single year? It's like, oh, should we count the championship? In 10 years, people will remember the bubble, sure, but 10, 20 years, you couldn't tell me right now, okay, 2021, so you couldn't tell me right now if anyone was injured in the 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005 playoffs that was a game-changing injury that cost the team a championship. I'm sure there was at least a few teams out there that, at least had either easier paths or something. In terms of Zion, I would be interested in seeing him play some center and just see it as a wrinkle in the Pelicans lineup and see if they can have success with it. Of course, that depends on the shooting around him, but I would be interested. I just looked on cleaningtheglass.com, and Zion played only 8% of his minutes at the center spot this year, but that's up from last year where he played 4%. And this year, he actually, in those 8% of his minutes, was pretty phenomenal. He actually played way better at center. Of course, incredibly small sample size because it only was 8% of the minutes, but he did play really well at center, and so did the team. Like, all of the numbers that I'm looking at, they're all very positive. So if I was the Pelicans, I would at least give it a shot. See if
the thing is, I don't think you go all in with him at center. So with Zion at center, small sample size, regardless of what the numbers say, I wouldn't take those as anything to run with. But what I will say is Zion at center is a great card to have, and it's definitely something to try out. I would like to see him play the center position situationally, and depending on the matchup, I would not be opposed to going to Zion at center, because there's definitely something there. The guy is a mismatch. He's strong. If you could get him to buy in on defense, I think that Zion can be a pretty nice defender. So, fortunately, the Pelicans, they have a lot of options. One thing that they also have the potential to do is, I talked about the Clippers earlier with their versatility. The Pelicans have a lot of wings now. They got a lot of guys that can play bigger, so they could have some of these bigger guys guard centers and just let Zion rock out and be Zion.
Honestly, I think it's something that you should do if you have a versatile forward like Zion. It's honestly the thing that I was the most excited for when the Lakers got LeBron James, but obviously LeBron has 2 inches on Zion Williamson. But Zion, I think, could be similar in the sense that he's extremely physically imposing. It's definitely worth a shot, but also that's kind of why I don't see him and Ben Simmons fitting together on a team, because both of them would pretty much occupy the same exact role. I also don't think that's the dark horse trade candidate that Korzemba is referring to. I think
On my article, it was Pelicans and Pistons.
really, I'm looking at the article. Pistons, but like the Pistons just drafted Cade. Isn't Cade?
It said, okay, because here's the reasoning. All right, so Brian Windhorst reported on the Scoop with Coop. You can definitely see why teams would have interest in him and why small market teams wouldn't necessarily be able to sign a player like this, like the Wolves, and would have a lot of interest, because how else are you going to sign a player like this with 4 years left on his contract? Windhorst, I don't mean to be invasive. I've just got to be careful with what I say. I know of at least one other team who is a small market team that has made an offer for him and has a lot of interest in him. It just hasn't gotten public yet. So every team that we've heard an offer from, and this was from a day ago, every team we've heard an offer from, he's saying they are not that team.
It's interesting because I think out of all teams, like my ranking for the teams that are most likely to trade for him is 1, probably the Timberwolves. 2 would be maybe the Cavalier. No, not even the Cap. Well,
So what do you
thing
see
is,
the
like,
Timberwolves package looking like?
I feel like, okay, that raises a good question. All right. I did a Twitter poll and it was split 50-50. Would you trade D'Angelo Russell for Ben Simmons? All right. I would. If I'm the Timberwolves, I'm trading D'Angelo Russell for Ben Simmons.
If
I'm taking
the
Anthony
Timberwolves,
Edwards.
for sure.
Yeah. I'm taking Anthony Edwards, Ben Simmons, Cat, and I'm running with it.
the thing
Now,
is,
would probably Philly also ask for like Malik Beasley or something? Sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm trading D'Angelo Russell. I think they're crazy if they do not include D'Angelo Russell and are like, yeah, try to just give us D'Angelo, make it D'Angelo, Anthony Edwards, Cat, and Ben Simmons. It's just never going to happen. Someone's going to come over the top and offer something. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon was already offered.
I think they could go either way. I could see them offering D'Angelo Russell. I could also see them offering Anthony Edwards, strictly because, I mean, hear me out. This is the only way I could see this happening is, Kat and D'Lo are really close. D'Lo and Ben Simmons went to high school together. So if this is one of those situations where Kat comes in and says, hey, I want you guys to keep D'Angelo Russell. I want you to trade Anthony Edwards instead. Then I could see a scenario, although a very huge long shot, where they offer Anthony Edwards for Ben Simmons. And in that case, the Philadelphia 76ers would be absolutely stupid not to accept that.
There's no I can't see it, but it's the NBA. Anything is possible.
I see where Mike's coming from logic-wise. He's just saying,
yeah, I understand the rationale. You don't got to explain
what's
that.
What's Cat's contract looking like, honestly? Because that's a big thing here.
Anthony Edwards had an amazing rookie season, though. I don't even know. No. I don't even know if I'm doing that, man. I'd rather trade Cat before I trade Anthony Edwards for Ben Simmons. I mean,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
you'd rather trade Cat?
2024.
But
Cat's a bit of a unicorn,
if you
too.
don't think you're gonna win anytime soon, like the Timberwolves have shown no signs of being good. Why would you trade the number 1 draft pick who had an amazing rookie season? I'd rather just restart. Let's restart the rebuild. Like, Edwards is young. Let's not mess him up. I don't agree with that.
I think Karl Anthony Towns is going to have a gigantic bounce back season and is going to I think I'm going to go on record and say Karl Anthony Towns is going to make All NBA next year. Going to go from not All-Star to All NBA.
I mean, realistically, like, how good?
No. I'm just saying that was kind of just a side note. I think the Timberwolves are gonna take a step up. I would trade D'Angelo Russell. I mean, I understand where you're coming from with like the connections of the guys, but at the end of the day, I mean, maybe like what the Timberwolves went. Everyone, when we talk about the Timberwolves, we're like, oh, they were so horrible, but everyone was injured. Like when everyone was playing, they still were like slightly over 500. Or like 500 exactly. At this point in Karl Anthony Towns' career, the man's 26 years old, right? Like, yeah, he's about to turn 26. In 2 months, he'll be 26. So around the season start. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, if you think that you can if you think that Anthony Edwards, Ben Simmons, and Cat is a package that works for you, which I feel it. I mean, I think they're in a better situation with that than with D'Angelo Russell. I think Ben brings a lot more to the table. And then right now, D'Angelo Russell, let's just be honest, D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards are 2 score first guards. Like those are 2.
Yeah. And like you said, Cat's under contract. So
yeah, no, Cat's locked in. He's fine.
Wait,
like,
hold on.
You want.
You said you called D'Angelo Russell a score first guard. I respect that. He's a tremendous scorer, but you're talking about a guy that's also averaged about 5 assists per game throughout his career and averaged about.
As a point guard,
assists. That's not a lot, but he's a good passer. That's
I think he's
of how good he is as a passer.
I think D'Angelo Russell, in terms of like playmaking, is very underrated. I think he could do a little bit of both. And also, Coop, I can't believe you said you'd rather trade Karl Anthony Towns over Anthony Edwards. There's no way.
I'm not trading Karl Anthony Towns for Ben Simmons. I'd rather trade Karl Anthony Towns to another team and get a lot of assets and restart.
I think Karl Anthony Towns is horrifically underrated by the NBA because of how bad. Like you're talking about a center that literally shoots like 7 threes a game. And while not last year, he only shot 39% off of 6 threes attempted per game.
And we're also talking about a center that's one of the worst defenders, if not the worst defender at the big man position in the entire NBA. He simply pours points for the other team. And I love him. But maybe, he just hasn't had a good coach. Maybe he hasn't been in a winning environment. And
maybe he needs a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Ben Simmons, to have his back.
Yeah.
If I'm Minnesota, all right, yeah, you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. Things have not been working out. How are you not like taking this trade? How are you not going for this? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Again,
I don't think that's enough though. I don't think D'Angelo Russell would be enough. Maybe if Malik Beasley's in there, but they turned down Brogdon and picks, right? So Brogdon might be better than D'Lo at this stage of his career at this very moment.
Well. I would take D'Lo, but I mean, I could see the argument for both. But what I will say is that, okay, they turned down. I'm curious. I'm really curious. They turned down that offer. I wonder what would happen if that same offer was made exactly right now. Because the thing is, they turned down that offer that was the exact like beginning of the Ben Simmons, saga / drama of this summer. That was before.
That's true.
They tried to get everyone. That was before they failed.
That's true, but I got a question. At this stage of their career, what do you think D'Lo does better than Brogdon? Like,
I think he's like marginally better offensively. Just offensively, he's marginally better.
Brogdon is efficient, shoots 39% from 3, 45% from the field, averaged 21 points per game last season, averaged 6 assists, got 5 boards, and he's a high-level defender. I'd say they're about the same. Like Brogdon, I'll give Brogdon a little bit of an edge as a defender, but no, he's not a little bit. He's way better.
No, yeah, I'll say I'll say Brogdon's for sure better. Though the difference is just age, I guess.
There's an age difference. So
4-year age difference.
You can say that there's a compensation. I feel that.
And
so like Brogdon's peaking.
D'Lo has been hurt. I mean, what's tough is that they both kind of have injury histories at this point now. Because D'Lo's been hurt the last 2 years and Brogdon's been hurt like throughout his career. So people kind of don't want to trust Brogdon.
I like Brogdon, man. That guy knows how to win. We're talking about winning players. That guy gives it his all every game.
Oh, for sure. And again, I wonder if that trade goes through now, or like if it's at least closer to.
I think it's definitely closer. Like you said, that's a great point,
sure.
bro. That's a great point. Like, I think if they got that offer now, they're like, yo, hold up, wait a minute, Brogdon?
Yeah, because what we haven't mentioned, we've kind of danced around it, is that with everything that's happened with Ben Simmons, for if you guys don't know, I'm sure you two know, but I'm just podcast. Ben Simmons did, after all of this, finally had a sit-down meeting with the Philadelphia 76ers after a summer of, I'm sure it was horrible in terms of everything. If you tuned it out, that's great. But, from the Philly fans, from the national media, Ben got ripped for sure. And the Sixers, they freaking tried, man. They went and they tried their best to bring Ben in and say, hey, look, man, we tried to trade you and it didn't work. So let's just make this work. And Ben just laughed at them and said, there's no fucking way. I'm not coming back here. You got to trade me. I'm not doing it. Like, let's play this game. Let me hold out a training camp. So I'm curious, where does this trade value, does it get lower? It's going to get lower, I guess, but when does it stop potentially to where a team like actually makes a trade? If Ben Simmons holds out and just decides not to play, what happens?
It depends. Like, that's one of the questions I asked in the very beginning. Like, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, how do you handle this situation? You have a player that has his value at an all-time low, that you drafted number 1 overall, won Rookie of the Year, is a good player, but he's stagnating, unfortunately. Clearly isn't the most mature player. He's coming off as a little bit of a spoiled brat in this instance, if you ask me.
Oh, no, come on, man. They did him dirty. They did him
dirty, but like, bro, I understand they did him dirty.
And they dragged him. You're supposed to stick with. I've never seen anything like.
They dragged him.
Yeah, they dragged him. They scapegoated him, and I've never seen nothing like that in my life, regardless of if it was warranted or not. I don't even know if I could call. I mean, you're right. It kind of is a lot, but I can't be mad.
I see both sides.
Yeah,
I see both
that's
sides.
the best way to put it. I see both sides.
Like, on one hand, I think Doc Rivers is a freaking idiot. Like, you don't literally, if you have any semblance of just social intelligence, you look at the media sees you're down bad. They're like begging. It's like, please, throw your star forward under the bus, or star point guard or whatever. Please, like, this will be fantastic. It'll get us clicks. And the man, like, literally gave the media what he wanted. Can Ben Simmons be a championship point guard? All you have to do is yes, but we're going to need to work towards that, or something along those
lines. Just
say
yes. Don't even say anything. Literally, just say yes. Of course, I believe that.
Yeah, it's over at that point.
Yeah,
like, who cares what you believe? This isn't the time to take a stand, Doc, and to be like, you know what? Now my integrity and my morals are too high. I cannot lie to the media. Like,
well,
what?
at the same time, though, if you say, yes, I think he can be a championship point guard, you're just feeding Ben. You're just continuing to coddle a guy that, like, consistently stagnated.
You just say that to the media, and then you just go and you say to Ben, hey, listen, like, we really need to work on things. Also, like, I mean, Ben himself has said, privately, they've always been cool with him. And that's the thing. We hear a lot of this, which I agree with. And this is, on Ben himself, of being complacent, of not getting, developing a jump shot. That is on him himself. However, the Sixers did this where they were complacent with Ben's ability as well. They were hyping up Defensive Player of the Year. They didn't care about the 3-point shooting until it bit them in the ass. And then as soon as it bit them in the ass, then suddenly it's the Sixers are like, oh yeah, wow, he never practiced. Oh my God. Joel Embiid's throwing him under the bus, trying to kind of take it back 4 months later. Like, Joel Embiid recently came out and said, oh yeah, Ben's a great player. I, of course, want Ben to stay on the team. Interesting. After you're not able to trade him the whole summer, now you come out and say that. Also, what were the Sixers thinking, even putting Ben Simmons out there to the media? Just take whatever, fine, take whatever. You don't take a shell-shocked Ben Simmons. You could see the look in that man's eyes. He never in his life, maybe in his life in general, but at least on a basketball court, had been that unconfident in himself, had been that unsure, and had performed that poorly down the stretch. I'm positive that that's never happened to him. He looked like he saw a ghost. We all saw it. Everyone was like, oh, wow, I can't believe the Sixers are even allowing Ben Simmons to be out there. Like, I can't believe they're asking these questions. I can't believe Ben's answering them. The Sixers should have just been like, no, you cannot talk to Ben Simmons. Doc should have just said he was a championship point guard. Joel Embiid should have backed up his teammate. And who knows, maybe the entire NBA, maybe at least one team bites and trades for him. Instead, everyone has piled on him. And now we're in a situation where again, Ben Simmons could just refuse to play, or we've seen this, okay? We piled on James Harden in last season when he showed up in a fat suit or whatever. If you look at James Harden's numbers, if you go and pull up what James Harden did when he came and actually played, he at least gave the Houston Rockets, after playing with them for, a bunch of seasons, he at least gave them a trade piece to work with. He still averaged 24.8 points, 10.4 assists, and 5.1 rebounds per game in eight games. You know, he came back and he showed teams, hey, I'm still James Harden. I'm still a great player. You trade for me, I'm still going to be a great player. Like Ben Simmons, if he doesn't come back, then who knows what that does to his trade value? Who knows what they end up having to take? Or we've seen guys like Vince Carter. This is Vince Carter's stats real quick. I'm pulling this up. You are not going to believe how badly Vince Carter purposely tanked his trade value in Toronto. Toronto had no choice. They said, okay, same exact kind of situation. Vince Carter was like, I'm not playing for you. I don't want to play for you. And they were like, too bad, you have to. And he was like, okay, watch how bad I play to tank my trade value. Vince Carter's last season in Toronto, the 2005 season, for the Toronto Raptors, he shot 41% and averaged 15.9 points per game. All right? 41%, 15.9 points. For the New Jersey Nets, that very same season after he was traded, he shot 46%, 50% better, and averaged 27.5 points a game. He, on the court, tanked his trade value until they finally traded him. So what's going to happen to the Sixers? I have no idea. But that Malcolm Brogdon trade offer could end up looking like, oh man, I wish we had taken that. Because what they traded for Vince Carter, what the Raptors got for Vince Carter, was pennies because of what happened.
If I was so this is kind of trending towards what do you do if you're the Philadelphia 76ers? Because I think we all agree that the Sixers mismanaged the situation. It's both of their faults, in my opinion. The Sixers coddled Ben Simmons' complacency. Ben Simmons remained complacent, and then they threw him under the bus. So at this point, you're Daryl Morey, which, by the way, we talked about this in the podcast in the past, where they've hyped up Ben Simmons as DPOY, but Daryl Morey, is notorious for really despising players that can't shoot 3-pointers. And you have a franchise cornerstone that has attempted 0.1 3-pointers per game throughout his entire career. I'm surprised that they didn't trade him last year. Obviously, they tried for James Harden, but at the trade deadline, I'd say there's no way I'd want Ben Simmons on my team. I would sell him at the peak of his value at that point, knowing that I at least knew that Ben Simmons, fantastic defensive player. Sixers stands were so annoying last year. They're like, this year's going to be different. This year's going to be different. I was saying that, you guys have never had problems in the regular season. You guys have problems in the postseason, and you guys literally have the same thing going for yourselves again this season. Although I think the team was constructed beautifully. Adding Danny Green was a great move. Adding Seth Curry. Adding Seth Curry was a remarkable move. Adding more shooting, getting out of Al Horford's contract. Daryl Morey gets an A++ for that. But now he's literally given this terrible situation where he needs to not only trade Ben Simmons, but get equal value in return, or at least maybe a quarter of that or a half of that. In this instance, how do you go ahead and handle this situation properly, move on from him, and try to put yourselves into a situation where you could still contend? I see multiple scenarios that could unfold from here. You either hit up the Sacramento Kings and say, Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield, future first round pick, we're done. Okay. Maybe you either that. What?
Go. You said Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield?
And future first round pick.
I think that's the offer you end up taking if everything goes horribly wrong.
I'd rather just keep Ben Simmons. I'd rather just keep Ben Simmons than Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley.
But Coop, with that in mind, what do you do? Because your team's going to lose games. What do you do if
I think they're good enough to win without Ben? I think they have an amazing roster, especially if Maxi's still there. That guy probably takes another leap. I think they should have beat the Hawks. And props to the Hawks. They balled out. I'm not taking nothing away from them.
What if they're good enough to win without Ben?
Even without Ben Simmons, I think they should have beat the Hawks. I think you could take Ben Simmons off that roster, and in an ideal world, they beat the Hawks with a decent coach. I think Doc Rivers was unbelievably outcoached. And I think that they have made what is a solid situation very bad, because I think, in a reality, I think they could have ran it back. My reaction would have been like, Ben, all right, we got to get you right. I know they've been trying for a minute, but I'm not gonna say all that stuff. What I'm gonna do is I might look into firing Doc Rivers. Now I know maybe it's not an option. Maybe he got a fat contract. He probably does. He's Doc Rivers, but I think that series was more on Doc than anything. So I don't know, man.
I agree with you in the sense that like Doc Rivers notorious for choking leads, most choked leads in the past 5 years on both the Clippers and the Sixers in the playoffs. I do think that's also on Doc Rivers, but at the same time, it's really funny because I think I forgot which YouTuber it was, but some YouTuber like compared Doc Rivers to like the Doug Peterson of the NBA. It was something like that, or the Bill O'Brien of the NBA, or no, the Adam Gase of the NBA. I don't know which one it was, but in this case, it's really tough because I agree with you. I do think they're good enough to just let Joel Embiid cook. You have great role players surrounding him. Ben Simmons is the guy that's taking your half-court offense out of rhythm, although he's a remarkable defender. Like, I'm going to give that to him. And he's fantastic making plays in the open court. I'll give that to him too. Another option, like, I think if you hit up the Golden State Warriors, you could get yourself some pieces for a championship roster. No matter what offer you make to the Golden State Warriors, they need to include Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins going to the Philadelphia 76ers, another great player that's emerging as a solid two-way piece. Like he's not what a number 1 overall pick is supposed to be, but still very serviceable. Maybe you could get yourselves maybe a Moses Moody out of it. If you need, I don't think they'd be interested in James Wiseman. Maybe like Andrew
I like
Wiggins,
Halliburton from the Kings. I don't know if the Kings are trading Halliburton, but
they're not.
They got too many guards. So
they're not trading
Fox, Halliburton, Mitchell. Give me one of them.
Mitchell.
All right, Mike, you just said no to Halliburton. Wow.
No, I said no to Halliburton because the Kings said that they will trade anyone not named Halliburton or Fox.
So, I know. I'm just saying, do you agree with that? Do you think the Halliburton do not trade Halliburton is worth it?
For the Sacramento Kings? I do love Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's very, very solid. Definitely one of the better picks that the Kings have made in recent years. I do think they do. I agree with Coop. They have way too many freaking guards over there. In terms of like potential, like at the very worst, you plug in Tyrese Halliburton into a lineup and have him spot up and like cash in from 3. He was very, very solid he wasn't remarkable, but he was solid on defense this past year. And of course, this is just his rookie season. I don't think it's worth it for the Kings to say, hey, we're not trading Tyrese Halliburton. We're keeping him no matter what. If Halliburton is the make or break here, then yeah, of course you should trade Tyrese Halliburton for Ben Simmons, because I think in terms of ceiling, Ben Simmons is going to beat Tyrese Halliburton easily.
I think Tyrese Halliburton would not just the make or break. I think he would be the centerpiece of a trade. I think, of whatever with the 76ers. So yeah, I mean, that's something also to look out for. The Sacramento Kings currently are saying no to that. I don't know. I mean, like if you're a team like the Sacramento Kings, I think it's Tyrese Halliburton. Love him, love his game. Thought he played, very well. Does he ever reach the all NBA level of Ben Simmons, the multi-time All-Star level of Ben Simmons? Who knows? And probably not. I would say I don't think he'll make multiple All-Star games like Ben. But at the same time, I feel like the problem with Ben is the fear of the unknown, I would say. Because if you take, Ben Simmons, you get his production, what he's been doing. Okay, sure. I would definitely do that trade. I read a good point in one of these articles. A team like the Sacramento Kings, or a team that is a smaller market team, to be able to get a player like Ben Simmons, who is a top, whatever you want to rank him in the NBA, whatever, to get that type of player locked into like a 4-year contract is just rare and doesn't happen that often. So if you all are a small market team that can, take maybe a mini leap up, maybe now you have De'Aaron Fox and Ben Simmons. I mean, I would consider doing it.
I love that. Like,
that sounds good to me. It's just good to me too. I think the only problem is people are legitimately afraid of what happens when Ben Simmons comes back, and not in a way where it's like, okay, he didn't develop a jump shot. Fine,
that's
sure.
a great point. I think
people are afraid of
that. I think the Kings are a team that, in order to get like a superstar without like developing one, I think Fox is going to be a superstar. But in order to get a guy like that, to get another guy like that, you got to draft him, or you have to, go out and you have to make a move. You have to take a gamble on a guy like Ben Simmons.
What's funny to me is like Ben Simmons is so mad, and so angry that the guy would rather play for the Sacramento freaking Kings, which in my opinion is the worst franchise in the entire NBA, than the Philadelphia 76ers, which is like, I understand you feel scorned by your team. You feel, like they treated you poorly, but to the point where like there's rumors that he'd accept a trade to the Cleveland Cavaliers, to the Sacramento Kings. Like, bro, these are literally the two worst front offices in the entire NBA.
Fair. I feel like, you're not going to fix the front office problem, but I feel like Ben fixes a lot of problems for both of those teams.
I see them having similar offensive issues in Sacramento. Fox is a phenomenal player that typically thrives in up-tempo situations. Not really the greatest three-point shooter, so you'll have spacing issues. I do agree that Ben Simmons is like a star that most typically isn't a player that the Sacramento Kings will be able to get.
The problem is not their offense; it's their defense by far.
I think that's another reason why the Timberwolves should really push to trade for Ben Simmons, because they have defensive issues as well.
Kings also have a severe rebounding problem. From a quick glance, if I'm the Sacramento Kings, Haliburton for sure. There was a time, if you were to just go through like the Ben Simmons timeline, like a graph, there was a time where in the regular season or even in the beginning of the playoffs where that trade, like if you were just going through it, would be accepted automatically and the Sixers would be ripped for taking Tyrese Haliburton for Ben Simmons. Now, of course, his trade value has fallen off a cliff. I have never seen anything like this. I feel like it's just kind of crazy how low it's fallen. But at this point, I'm making that trade. Again, you're getting an all-star who is still young, who is locked into a contract, who has to stay in Sacramento. Literally, it's like, unfortunately, Ben Simmons, you have to stay here for 4 years or whatever. So 4 or 5 years. So, and you're also showing De'Aaron Fox that, Fox is locked into a contract though as well, right? Well,
yeah.
You're
just
at least
signed
showing
an extension this offseason.
Yeah. You're at least trying to win with De'Aaron. He just played 4 years, so I'm sure he's locked in for a while. Till 2026.
Yeah,
okay.
Literally just signed an extension.
They could take their time if they want to, but I would like that trade. I would like that trade for the Timberwolves as well. And is what's happening right now, like teams are playing a waiting game? Like, are they waiting for the offer to get lower? Because that could just easily be the case. It could just be like, maybe the Kings are somewhat open to, going for Haliburton, but right now the 76ers are only asking for De'Aaron, So we don't really know. We're not really sure. But if you're just centering that trade around Haliburton, who else? Maybe you throw in Buddy. I'm sure Buddy would go in there, salary wise. Like, that's a 76ers team that I could get on board for and would be excited for. Having Haliburton and Buddy now to help with shooting. I don't know what else the 76ers do in terms of, like Coop said, 76ers are already a really good team. So what you get back for Ben at this point is, only going to help you. You can't just let him rot away on the bench. You can, but you're wasting like $40 million in salary cap.
If there's one team that I think can completely alter the course of Ben Simmons' career, like a team that could legitimately turn him into like a top 5 player in the NBA, it'd be the San Antonio Spurs. Like, if I'm Ben Simmons, I would do absolutely anything to get to Popovich. I
Outside
personally,
of Kawhi, who have you seen them like turn into just a dog.
I guess
they have a lot of they're a talented team. They draft well, but like a lot of their guys, they haven't taken like that next step, which maybe that's due to DeMar and LaMarcus, but
I mean, I said this about DeMar when he went there, and I guess I was wrong. I really thought Popovich was going to be able to help develop him a little. Well, not develop him, but like fix his jump shooting a little bit, and it just didn't work out.
You do know DeMar suddenly became a much better playmaker. Like Popovich is credited for that. He did, his 3-point shot wasn't there, but he suddenly averaged 7 assists a game.
I do think, well, he also, you're right. He did average 7 assists per game. I do think that Popovich is really good for player development, just in general. Like historically, every player that's gone to San Antonio has resulted in being a better version of themselves.
Ago, but I've been following their drafts, and I mean, they've he's turned out a lot of above average players, but I mean,
also the San Antonio Spurs are, you said they're the top. I would possibly rank them as the worst team for him to go to. They finished 3rd in the entire NBA. I mean, 30th in the entire NBA in 3-point attempts and 3-pointers made.
Pop's living in
their
the
entire
past,
team
man.
can't shoot. Freaking DeJounte Murray shot 31% from 3. Same situation if you're going to say anything about Fox at point guard. That's their guy right now is Murray.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I don't think it would. I would say, piggybacking off of the one team that could change his career that dramatically, I think it for sure would be the Golden State Warriors.
Of course.
Or the Blazers. Maybe one or the other. You get a guy like Dame or Steph to bounce off of that they can take over lead ball handling responsibilities, and now your focus is way more on just setting up shooters. I think both those situations are going to be way better for Ben Simmons. I think the biggest problem with Ben Simmons, and it will come to light, I think this will come to light if hopefully he gets put in a situation where it does work out. I guess I'm rooting for Ben because I said hopefully, but so rooting for Ben. Hopefully he gets put in a situation where things where it works out, because my whole thing is the 76ers, they ruined the process of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I don't want to say they ruined the process in total yet, because who knows what happens, but I'll say when they messed up was when they did not treat Jimmy Butler like the player that they should have treated him as. Everything that's leaked from the front office and everything after, like from where like Jimmy Butler was told that the 76ers felt they had to control him and that he was a wild card, all that stuff, taking basically in essence choosing Tobias Harris over him. I think Jimmy Butler, I think it got really underrated, the fact that he, down the stretch of games or at any point in the game, is able to be the lead guard, is able to isolate, is able to, go into pick and roll settings with Embiid and score. He, of course, is, a good defender too, but that took the ball out of Ben's hands a lot at the end of games. And so Ben's weaknesses were swept under the rug in that way. But then suddenly with Jimmy Butler gone, and now you have Tobias Harris and you have Embiid, and you need that lead guard. You have, Seth Curry as your shooting guard, a guy who is, trying to spot up and not really run pick and rolls, run the offense like that. Ben was suddenly asked to do more, and the Sixers expected him to be able to do more, understandably. I think it's understandable that they expected him at this point in his career to be able to do more. The problem was just that he couldn't do more, and then it came to light in front of everyone on national television with everyone watching. But I do think that if he goes to a team that is constructed a little more to his talents, that he'll be, back to all-star level and be crushing it like he has been.
Closing thoughts, guys?
Ben Simmons for president.
The Lakers.
You know what I don't ever want to hear? Zach LaVine for Ben Simmons. There was some small leaking of like, oh, maybe they should trade Zach LaVine for Ben Simmons. No, thank you. Bulls are going to be the 5 seed this year. 5 seed.
And what
we got
league?
it.
Way to shoot for
in the Eastern Conference.
No.
Wait Wait, maybe maybe if they like move to the G League, maybe.
Get out of here, Mike. You're gonna owe me a lot of money. I don't know how much. It was either 100 or 500. I don't know what we bet.
Definitely 100.
We have to find it. Find in the clip.
So, of course, one of our awesome Twitter followers, Zorbel Slaps, asked the Laced Up Hoops Twitter account, did Mike Korzemba ever get crossed up in high school?
Did Kors ever get crossed up in high school? Hell no. But that's because a lot of the time, I was on the bench.
Wait, yeah, honestly, like, imagine, I could never imagine getting crossed up in the game of basketball. That's got to be, like, the most embarrassing thing ever. Like, all right, so, at XJuice2K wants to know, if you could implement a major modification to the NBA rules, what would it be? Example, adding the 3-point like.
I have a great.
No,
I have
first.
an answer.
I'm going first.
All right, I will wait patiently.
My answer is I would eliminate 3 in the key, defensive and offensive.
Why?
I want the big man to come back. I want players to be rewarded for being big and skilled near the basket. I feel like if you are able to camp the lane defensively and offensively, you are able to make much more of an impact as a big.
You know, that's a very interesting take, because originally it was removed because it was added because of Wilt Chamberlain just abusing everyone and dunking on everyone. Now we have the inverse problem. Everyone's just shooting threes.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I would love to see that experimented with. That's a good answer. That's a creative answer.
And I don't think there's a 3 in the key in international play. And that's why we have seen some players maybe struggle a little more and seen the international defenses be a little more tough.
The thing is, I can't imagine the NBA adding anything that could potentially slow down the scoring of the game. Do you think that'll increase scoring or slow it down?
Well, there's
FIBA only uses. No, FIBA does not use the defensive 3 seconds. So offensive 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about defensive 3 seconds in defense.
Well, no defensive 3 seconds actually makes it harder for big men to score. It actually goes the opposite direction, because if there is an offensive 3 seconds, but there's no defensive, you could just camp your center in the paint.
But that also, I mean, I guess I could see that, but I feel like no defensive 3 seconds. I feel like that rewards like bigs who are able to pass a lot more. And
no defensive 3 seconds.
But also it makes bigs that camp the paint more valuable. So that's also another thing.
Like, well, I feel like no defensive 3 seconds, if anything, would make it so that teams would shoot more from the outside.
But do you understand, like, that makes defensive bigs more valuable? They're more viable.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. Like, for instance, there was a play. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but it was like dissected on Twitter or something. It was a cool play where Kawhi was dribbling up against the Jazz, and he purposely waited. He was looking at Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert had to, jump out of the key after 3 seconds. And as soon as he jumped out of the key, Kawhi crossed over and just drove right to the basket for a wide open layup, because he was just waiting for Gobert to get out. So in that case, in that instance, for sure would not happen. Gobert would just stand there, and it would definitely increase the big man's on defense for anyone who's driving to the basket. On offense, I wonder if it would make guys again too unstoppable. I'm not sure. I mean, already guys are shooting 70% at the rim. Like, what if you just literally could stand there and wait until the defense breaks down and just catch a lob for a dunk? Like, if you just stood there, like, say the Warriors just take James Wiseman and you're like, you are not moving. On offense, we'll run our offensive set. You're just standing at the basket, and if your man ever leaves you for a millisecond, we just throw you a lob and you just dunk.
But on the other side of things, that makes that rim protector more valuable. Like, with no D3, you got that guy, hopefully able to stop that lob.
It would be interesting. I'd be very interested to see a collection of games. I just feel like modern NBA offenses would exploit the hell out of not having to shoot. I mean, not having to move from the three offensively, the 3 seconds. I feel like you would just put a lob threat right there. If, run your offense. Like, what if you had Clint Capella comes up for the pick and roll, doesn't work? Okay, just go stand in the paint. Hopefully Trey breaks down someone off the dribble and then is able to drive.
Or
I don't know.
You have a defensive big that's able to move Capella out of the paint, maybe doing their work early. So it'd be interesting for sure.
It'd be interesting. All right, well, my answer for this, and if you guys are not with me, you're just dead to me. That's okay. Is
I actually have one more too. I actually have one more too.
I wish so much that the NBA made the clear path foul rule so much stricter. I wish that, because as it stands right now, I've made like 2 videos on this. As it stands right now, the clear path foul rule is just dumb to me. Like, the whole point, and keep in mind, I'm saying to make it stricter. I'm saying I want more clear paths called because I don't want the flow of basketball to be interrupted. My whole thing is the NBA makes several rule changes based on basically just pure entertainment.
Just take the international rule of no intentional fouls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Basically,
it
is an intentional foul. My whole thing is, all right, so I hate the fact that people call this a smart foul, because technically it is. I'll say, yes, it is a smart foul to foul someone on fast break, but I hate it. I think anything that interrupts the flow of basketball, that interrupts the enjoyment, the excitement, the highlight plays, where else are there more potential highlight plays than a team running a fast break on a 3-on-1? I don't get why you're allowed to just foul and stop that, especially when the NBA has a half-assed rule in place. They're almost there. They have like somewhat of a small rule. Like, we've heard of the clear path foul rule, of course, but if you're an NBA fan and you watch a ton of games like we all do, you might like barely ever see one. And the reason is because the rules are ridiculous. Basically, it's you have to be at like a certain point in the court. Like, once you cross, if you're behind half court or ahead of it, I don't know, one of the two, you can't be called for a clear path foul. If you're about to throw a pass to a man who is in front of you, all right, and the ball is on your fingertips and they foul you, even though there's a guy standing 15 feet ahead of you, ready to just catch the ball and put it in, not a clear path foul. But as soon as that ball leaves your fingertips, clear path foul. Hate it. Just I am a proponent for making rules, not of course all of them, but they already have a rule for this. I am a proponent of making this stricter so that teams cannot foul in the fast break. I think it's very simple. Just you're not allowed to intentionally foul guys on a fast break. Would lead to more excitement, lead to more fast breaks.
That's
my argument.
I agree. I would like shot clock violations to be play-ons too. Can are salary cap rules allowed, or are we not doing that? Like,
go ahead.
Well, one thing I would like to see is I think role players are getting paid too much money at the moment. I'd love to see my guys getting bags, but man, role players are getting inflated salaries because of the top of the NBA. I would like to see the salary cap. I would like to see the max. I'd like to see the salary cap remain intact, but I'd like to see the max salary be eliminated. I want to see what teams would be willing to offer some of these guys, some of the top players. And I would want to see how teams would construct building their roster around, this rule. Or do the Lakers have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Westbrook? If, you got to pay LeBron $90 million or something, like, I don't know. So
That's a good point.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, I remember it was like, Mike Korzemba would probably know this best. When the Chicago Bulls had Michael Jordan, did they pay out like 90% of their salary cap to him? It was something like absurd like that. I don't think it's ever been replicated since.
Yeah, well, what Coop is saying, you're just saying, Coop, you're trying to blow up the NBA right now. You're trying to just, you're going into my league and just changing everything.
Yeah, basically, it'd be It'd be chaos.
I don't know. That would be too much. Dude, that would screw you as a New Orleans Pelicans fan. If they
not really.
No salary cap, are you saying no cap on a contract or no cap on the salary?
No cap on a contract.
Okay.
No max
right,
contract.
So that's different. So you'd be like, okay, so if one team wants to pay Luka $90 million and surround him with smaller guys, that would be interesting.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with you on that would be interesting, and I would love to see it play out in a simulation.
It would be like,
not in real life though, because in real life it would ruin everything.
Bro, that would screw you guys so badly.
No,
Why
not
would
really. We could build a great team, whereas some of these top-heavy teams would literally only have one, maybe two guys.
A team. What would Zion want from you? He'd want $80 million.
Okay, but I'm saying we could let Zion go, or we could try to build a great roster.
So you just created a scenario where you just let Zion go.
I'm just saying. Obviously, none of this is real.
Why would Zion, and then all these players will be incentivized to have, I see what it does. All these players will be incentivized to have their own team surrounded by a bunch of role players.
Exactly. That's the point.
But the thing is, what about a team like the Lakers that say, hey, Bron, we're going to pay you $90 million a year. And we're going to get you also Anthony Davis, and we're going to pay him $50 or $60 million a year. The Lakers are freaking loaded, dude. You know what I mean? How does a team like the Pelicans?
No, he didn't say he said keep the cap in place.
Yeah.
Keep the
yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yes. But I will say there's two major problems that I'm seeing right off the bat. One, places way less of an emphasis on drafting to the point where drafting might not even matter, basically.
No. Drafting would definitely matter because.
Well, then if you could just offer
there's still rookie contracts though. There's still rookie contracts, so you're still incentivized.
Yeah, but after 4 years. Okay, so after 4 years, Zion's going somewhere. I mean, he just goes wherever he wants. So, yeah,
unless
you're
you
right.
want to pay him, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
you can still keep the RFA and be like, okay, well, we could match any contract, and you could still make it so okay, maybe the team that drafts him can pay him more or something like that, So there's some interesting team dynamic, or maybe raise the max contract.
All right, next question is at Aaron Sheep 24 asked the Laced Up Hoops Twitter, football week 1, you guys seem to have an interest. So some background info, guys. We're all in a fantasy football league together. If you guys want to see our progress and you want us to show our teams, let us know in the comments. We could definitely get into that. As you guys know, I have a alter ego, a second entity apart from TheFlightMike called Microphone. I do NFL content there, so I'm gonna keep my opinions till the very end. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Week 1 of the NFL. What did you guys think?
I loved it. Amazing. Jameis Winston, QB1, proved the doubters wrong, especially Stephen A. Saints look good, man. Dominated Aaron Rodgers. It was a good week of football for me.
What about you, Kors? What do you think?
I watched one game. It was the Jets, and I believe in Zach Wilson. That's all I gotta say. That's all I got.
All right.
So unfortunately, I didn't watch much. I will say that in terms of the fantasy league, I was not paying attention. Of course, my own fault, but was not paying attention, and I auto drafted my team. So that's kind of unfortunate, especially because for the first time I think ever playing a fantasy league, I had the number 1 pick. So Christian McCaffrey looked great. Looked amazing.
Your team's solid.
As he took, I lost. I won in my other fantasy league where I actually drafted.
So I'll give you my brief little tidbits. I'll give you a little winners and losers list here. Winners, the entire NFC West. Arizona Cardinals looked insane. 5 sacks by Chandler Jones. Holy crap. The additions of JJ Watt and AJ Green obviously kind of made AJ Green less than JJ Watt, but they made their presence felt. Kyler Murray looks like a baller. The LA Rams loved Matthew Stafford. I mean, it's really crazy to see what Sean McVay can do with that team. Now that he has a quarterback that could launch the damn football, it was so fun to watch. Huge winner, Sam Darnold. Anytime you can march, you debut for your brand new team against your former team and win, that's always a huge win. Subsequently, another winner, the Jalen Hurts era in Philadelphia. Absolutely freaking love it. Devontae Smith was a huge hit. I didn't have a lot of faith in Nick Sirianni because he had trouble he was a bad interview, bad press conferences, stuttered a lot in the offseason, but it seems like they're off to a good start. Every rookie wide receiver that was selected in the first round of the NFL draft, from Jamar Chase, who was having drop issues in the preseason, which I'm getting roasted for that take earlier and making videos on it. He had 5 receptions, 101 yards, a touchdown, looked awesome. Jalen Waddle looked awesome. Devontae Smith looked awesome. Of course, huge winner. I agree with you, Get Like Coop. Jameis Winston. Dude, it's crazy what a good organization could do for a player. When you hit on a head coach, it doesn't even matter who you plug in at QB. He could take untapped potential and really, really make it soar. Jameis Winston looked awesome. Unfortunately, losers include Deshaun Watson, out for the whole year. Don't want to get into that. His situation's complicated. Aaron Rodgers, dude, this guy had 5 interceptions last year. He threw 2 picks against the Saints, looked lost out there. He's being accused of tanking his value for a trade on purpose. Andy Dalton,
wait, what do you think about that? Quickly, I would like to hear about that, actually.
About Aaron Rodgers,
as someone who knows nothing.
About how much of the Aaron Rodgers situation do you want me to go into?
Just start with the tanking his value.
So in the offseason, in the NFL, it's kind of different than the NBA in the sense that the NBA will cater to its players. LeBron goes to the Lakers. They do everything they want him to do. He could pretty much construct his own team, right? In the NFL, the only guy that kind of had that, and he really had to force it, was Tom Brady. Tom Brady and the Patriots didn't see eye to eye. They didn't give him whatever he wanted. He butted heads with Bill Belichick a lot. He goes to the Buccaneers. Everything he wanted, he got. The Buccaneers didn't want Antonio Brown. They signed Antonio Brown because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady wanted pre-snap motion in his offense. Bruce Arians doesn't do that. They added pre-snap motion. He pretty much calls all the shots. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, similar, this is very controversial, but similar talent level than Tom Brady. Not as much hardware, not as much team success as Tom Brady. You're talking about a guy that has 7 Super Bowls to 1. He sees this and he pretty much gets really upset because over the years, there's been times where he's approached the Green Bay Packers and said, hey, keep this player. I really like him. Keep Jay Kumaro, keep Julius Peppers, keep Randall Cobb. And the Packers said, dude, screw you. We're going to do whatever we want. You play for us. You work for us, not the other way around. As a result, Aaron Rodgers gets upset and says, all right, look, if you want to trade me, I'm 37. You drafted a quarterback in the first round, in the 2019 NFL draft, which was a very good draft for wide receivers. If you want to trade me. As a result, there's a lot of reports that came out in the offseason. The Broncos were about to trade for him. That's why they didn't draft a quarterback in the draft this year. The star wide receiver of the Packers, Devontae Adams, won't sign a contract extension with the Packers either because there's a rumor that both him and Aaron Rodgers are going to leave together. So Aaron Rodgers comes in to training camp this year, pretty much gives this 15-minute interview about what bothered him and said that, based off of how the year goes, they're going to readdress his contract situation at the end of the year. The Packers even said that, hey, we'll let you go if you want to go at the end of this year. As a result, this is getting a lot of comparisons to The Last Dance because a lot of people are assuming this is the final run for the Green Bay Packers. And after a horrific showing in week 1, which is something that we haven't seen from Aaron Rodgers in 2 years, that's how transcendent of a talent he is, at least in the Matt LaFleur era, many people are accusing him of tanking his value for not being able to defend what appeared to be not being able to play against simple man coverage. He was completely stopped. And this is a very versatile quarterback.
Simple man coverage.
So what do you think? Literally after all of that, what do you think about the conspiracy?
Oh, do I think he's trying? I don't believe it at all. I mean, like this is a team that could contend for a Super Bowl. I think Aaron Rodgers would rather win a Super Bowl than like any type of melodrama. I think he's going to leave at the end of the season. It's a conspiracy, but I don't give this type of conspiracy
with
any
the
stock.
hurricane that hit New Orleans. The Saints were displaced. I think they played in Jacksonville, and because of that, Aaron Rodgers said himself in a press conference, I believe, that he underestimated exactly how legit and how good the Saints were going to be. They thought they were going to march up and down the field and move the ball. Obviously, that didn't happen.
I mean, I look at the Saints defense and I'm like, this is a team that has Marshawn Lattimore. They have Cam.
They're
Jordan,
a good
they have Marcus
defense, but
Davenport, Demario Davis.
Quan Alexander's coming off of an ACL. Lattimore was playing. Quan Alexander's coming off an Achilles injury. Lattimore was playing hurt. They haven't got Bradley Roby. King Crawley was out. Davenport got hurt mid-game.
Also,
Onyemata's out 6 weeks. You know, there's a lot of injuries, and they lost some key pieces to that defense. So I can understand underestimating the team.
From an outsider perspective of just like I'm not as big of an NFL fan as you guys, how would it help? Like, does he have a no trade clause, or can he still just be traded anywhere?
I don't think he has a no trade clause, but it's one of those things where the Packers thought he was done because he was like, the year they drafted Jordan Love, he threw 26 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, which is still fantastic if you ask me. Just not like on a godlike tier. So they went ahead and they drafted his replacement, who's deemed to be a bit of a project. And the year after, he comes and wins MVP, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And both years he led the Packers to the NFC Championship. Both years they lost in the NFC Championship. So on one hand, I've come out and said this: why don't you trade Aaron Rodgers at the peak of his value and just move on to Jordan Love? You'll get like 3 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, which is huge in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers is 37 years old. I guess they prefer to run it back for one more year. Maybe they feel like they're really close to winning a Super Bowl with him. So that is actually a huge question that's asked.
Are we good? You don't have to badmouth the Jets. I know you're waiting on that losers column.
I mean, again, like I said before, I said this to you before the podcast. The Zach Wilson pick, like, he could turn out to be a star. He could turn out to be a stud. I think they gave up on Sam Darnold way too quickly. I mean, this is a guy that's younger than the 2009.
I don't know about that. I don't know. They just gave Sam Darnold a terrible situation, but I think it was good for Darnold to move on too.
I agree, but like, you finally bring in a competent front office and coaching staff. You like traded 3 second-round picks to move up 3 spots in the 2018 NFL draft for Darnold. He's younger than the average QB.
I think Darnold just really needed a new situation. You're not lying, but I think it was just best.
I don't think you could look in the past of like moves like, oh, you traded this to get Darnold, when again you just said you just brought in new guys, so they're gonna want their own guy. It happens all the time when new front offices and stuff happen. So,
but I don't think it's necessarily what should happen, especially when you have an opportunity, when you have so many holes on your team, like on the offensive line. Your wide receiver core is suspect, in my opinion. Your defensive line is like getting there. Your defense is kind of getting there. There's so many needs that need to be addressed on that team.
There's no hit like hitting on a quarterback, though.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I agree.
You could be
you,
right,
but
you could be very right. But if Zach Wilson is great, then none of that really matters.
I mean, if that's a pretty big if. They had an opportunity to speed up their rebuild.
I wouldn't say it's
like
a pretty
3
big
years.
if. He's still number 2 pick.
I mean, number 2 picks in the
think they
NFL
have
draft have a similar fate as number 2 picks in the NBA draft.
Yeah, until today, Mike. Until the addition of Zachary Wilson.
Well, guys, let us know in the comment section down below if you want us to cover some NFL on this podcast. That was a really dope question, and
it'll just be you just shitting on the Jets and just me just defending them, and you having more background knowledge.
Dude, it's way easier to shit on the Cowboys than it is for me to shit on the Jets. Believe me.
But I don't have comebacks.
Like, the Cowboys just suck.
The problem is I have no. I'm like over here Googling the most simple things. I'm like, oh, Aaron Rodgers threw for 26 touchdowns. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
The Jets aren't a fun team to talk about either. They're not fun to crap on. Now, if we were talking about the Saints,
Oh, people were crapping on the Jets last year when it was, Trevor Lawrence. Why would he ever want to go to the Jets?
I mean, why would he? Just kidding.
Why would he ever want to go to Jacksonville either?
The Jets are like, have the Jets won a championship? They're like the Cavaliers to me.
All right,
but with no Bron.
It's still the Jaguars.
Have they won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, so guys, make sure you follow us on the Laced Up Hoops Twitter account. That's like the best way you could ask us questions for free without joining as a channel member. But if you do join as a channel member, significantly more perks. You get access to our Discord chat. Guys, how many people are in our Discord right now? There's like literally... There's like 7 people there's like 14 people in our Discord in general. So this is the best way that you could like reach us, talk to us about like anything you want to talk about. It's $2.99 for Laced Up Silver, and Laced Up Gold gets shouted out, gets access to a bonus podcast, and gets access to members only live streams where you could come on our live stream and talk to us about anything you want. We're going to try to pump out one of those. Well, how often, guys? Once every week?
We're offering lectures
once
from Mike Korzemba.
We're offering what?
Lectures from Mike Korzemba.
I'll give you a lecture whenever you want.
I know you will.
All right, guys. Closing statements.
Chicago Bulls, number 5 seed. Number 5. Remember this. Why are you laughing at? What's so crazy about thinking a team?
Nothing's crazy about that. Coop.
Yeah, Chicago Bulls 5 seed.
Yep, Chicago Bulls 5 seed, guys. We're laced
You
up.
guys are nuts. I cannot wait till the Bulls.
We agreed with you. Yo, you're toxic.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
You're toxic, bro.
Yeah, we agreed with you.
You're arguing with.
Oh my god,
you're arguing with yourself.
There's no. Yeah, you're just like looking for an argument when we're agreeing
We've
with
been
you.
podcasting 2 hours. Were they not perky enough for you?
I'm not looking for anything.
If you're still here while the music is cued, here are 2 videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. Make sure to click on one of them. Again, I know you're gonna love it. And other than that, have a great day and peace.